Bizarre moment. Millionaire intervenes as Stepmom Drenches crying girl with milk at midnight. In the darkness of the lavish mansion, shadows danced as chaos erupted. A high-pitched scream shattered the night, drowning the echoes of soft jazz from the distant speakers. There, under the eerie glow of a flickering chandelier, a young girl, no older than 10, sat on the cold marble floor, tears cascading down her cheeks, choking on her sobs. The scene was surreal. Milk spilled everywhere, creating a white pool around her tiny hands, her nightgown soaked through, as if she were caught in a storm. And looming over her, a woman with wild, frizzy hair, her face twisted in a manic rage, brandished a milk carton like a weapon. It was a sight that would haunt anyone fortunate enough to witness it. The girl's eyes went wide, fear radiating from her tiny frame. The tension hung thick in the air, like the calm before a terrible storm. Suddenly, the grand entrance burst open, and in walked a tall man, impeccably dressed, eyes blazing with indignation. Samuel Hawthorne, billionaire extraordinaire, known more for his charitable works than for meddling in family affairs, had entered the fray. His reputation for swooping in to save the day was only matched by the whispers that followed him, tales of his mysterious past and his uncanny ability to appear at the right moment. Just as Samuel stepped forward to confront the madness, the stepmother lifted the carton again, ready to unleash another torrent of milk upon the fragile child. The room held its breath, a collective gasp escaping lips that felt the weight of the moment. What kind of madness was this? How far would the woman go? And what had driven her to such cruelty? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. As if time had stretched, Samuel's eyes locked onto the stepmother. His heart raced, fists tightening. Would he intervene in this madness? The girl trembled, staring at Samuel as if he were her last hope. He took a step, and the sound of his polished shoe against the floor echoed like thunder. Would he be a savior, or would chaos reign? In that moment, the air crackled with unspoken tension, leaving everyone on edge, desperate for resolution. Would he save the girl? Or would this midnight nightmare continue into the unknown? The stepmother's face twisted like a mask of fury as the milk carton hung poised, ready to pour. Time stretched, the air thick with anticipation. Samuel felt the eyes of the entire room boring into him. Would he play the hero, or would this madness ensue?
Stop.
Samuel's voice cut through the suffocating silence, sharp and commanding. The stepmother froze, her hand trembling as she looked from him to the girl, confusion momentarily replacing rage. The room held its breath, the tension teetering on a knife's edge. Let her go, he added, stepping closer, his presence altering the atmosphere, shifting it from chaotic to confrontational. The girl's big eyes shimmered with a mix of fear and hope, silently begging him for rescue. The stepmother clutched the milk carton like a lifeline. You don't understand, Samuel. She deserves this. She's a spoiled brat, and I'm teaching her a lesson. Her voice was a jagged echo, desperately trying to justify her actions. Samuel's heart pounded. What lesson requires humiliation? The question hung heavy in the air. He could see her wavering in the glow of the chandelier, the flickering light mirroring the instability in her eyes. As he drew nearer, he felt the weight of power speeding through him. The girl was still huddled on the floor, cowering, her delicate fingers inching toward the spilled milk as if seeking warmth from a cold reality. Everything around them blurred. The glint of panic and madness in the stepmother's eyes was the only clarity. Samuel raised his hands, halting all thoughts of aggression. Please, he said softly, let us talk this out. There's no need for this. Just then, A voice resurfaced from the shadows. And what makes you think she would listen? It was Celia, the stepmother's sister, who had lurked in the corner, arms crossed defiantly. Her remarks sliced through the storm brewing in the room, taking seat among whispers of uncertainty. Samuel turned, his expression hardening. Because this isn't just about you or her. It's about a child in pain. He focused back on the girl, praying his words would reach her. You're not alone, sweet girl. I'm here now. The stepmother's posture shifted, confusion giving way to fury. You're just a billionaire who thinks he can swoop in and solve everything. You don't know this girl. You don't know me. Samuel felt the tension rising again. Deep breaths. He was losing ground. Then let me. In that next heartbeat, she dropped the carton. Milk splashed across the marble floor like a small, chaotic explosion. Anger seeped from her, but something else flickered in her wild eyes, uncertainty. Wasting no time, Samuel knelt beside the girl, cradling her tiny shoulders. He whispered words of comfort, trying to rekindle a sense of safety amid the chaos. You're free now. You're safe. But just as relief seemed to blossom in the room, a sound pierced the air, the sudden chime of his phone. It vibrated violently against the marble, completely breaking the fragile moment. Samuel abandoned his focus on the girl, eyes glancing at the notification, an urgent message, something he recognized as a grim reminder from his past trailing him like a ghost. He took a deep breath, conflict swirling within. His instinct screamed for him to attend to the girl, to wrap her in protection. But the reality of his phone pulled at him, demanding his attention. Would he choose the girl in front of him, or the dark warning from his history? The unmistakable shadow of his past loomed ever closer, and the night had just begun. Samuel's eyes widened at the screen, the message blaring like an alarm in his mind. You know what you've done, it's not over yet. The words ignited a flame of dread in him, dragging him back into a past he desperately wanted to escape. The girl's tear-streaked face flickered in his peripheral vision, a haunting reminder of his own forgotten childhood. Samuel? The stepmother's voice slurred into his anxiety, bringing him back to the scene. She swayed slightly, anger morphing into something else. Fear? Keep your thoughts on her. Celia snapped, evidently trying to reclaim control of the situation. The tension thickened as the clock ticked softly in the background, a reminder of time slipping away. I'm right here, he assured the girl, desperately trying to maintain his grip on reality, but sweat formed at his temples, and his heart raced. Let us just breathe. His tone was steady, an anchor in a storm. Yet, in the depths of his gut, he feared that no matter how strong he appeared, the inevitability of his past was primed to break free. Don't you dare make me look foolish, Samuel. The stepmother's voice rose again, each word laced with venom. You think you can just walk in and save her? She needs discipline, not a surrogate father. Stop. Just stop. The words burst from her sister, but they were lost in the tumult. Eyes darted around the room, every witness frozen between the drama unfolding and their internal turmoil. Breathing fast, Samuel could feel the weight of their judgment, wondering if they too registered the frantic message weighing on his mind. With determination, he turned to the girl, his voice softer now, attempting to put distance between her and the madness swirling around. You're strong, you hear me? I was once forgotten too, but that doesn't define you. Yet, as he spoke, he couldn't shake the feeling that the walls around them were closing in. The stepmother scoffed, a cruel smile tugging at her lips. Please, what do you know about strength? You live in a fairy tale. The sound of something heavy hitting the floor cut through the atmosphere. Heads turned in unison to see the stepmother's trembling hand drop to her side, the fear now evident in her expression as well. What is happening? Before Samuel could respond, the room plunged into blackness. The chandelier flickered and then died, leaving them in complete darkness, the chaos spinning into a blurred mess of shadows. Samuel, I can't see. The girl's voice trembled, shifting from strength to panic. He reached out instinctively, finding her small hand, squeezing it tightly. Stay with me, he said, even as the panic coursed through his veins. A sense of isolation crept in, the hush settling like a thick fog. What was happening? Was this part of his past trying to swallow him whole? He needed to escape the dark, both inside and outside. But just when hope flickered, his phone buzzed in his pocket. Ignoring it felt impossible now. Maybe it was a clue? A last chance? Just a second, he muttered, attempting to break free from fear and focus. The buzzing stopped abruptly, silence consuming them again. But now, another sound crept into the void, a distant thud, reverberating through the air, followed by a slow creak that echoed like a whisper. Samuel? The girl's voice quivered, and the tension grew palpable. What was out there? What else loomed in the dark, waiting? He couldn't ignore the insistent pull of both the girl and the message. Something deeper was hiding, something menacing. Samuel felt the corners of his resolve tightening. Just as panic began to rise, and the creaking grew louder, a flash of light scattered across the room. What was that? Celia gripped the unseen air, her words hardly a whisper now. The promise of answers lurked, but would they lead to safety or plunge them further into chaos? The light flickered again, illuminating fleeting shadows that danced on the walls, only to vanish in an instant. Samuel's heart raced, each beat echoing in the oppressive silence. He strained his eyes, searching for any signs of movement amid the darkness. "Stay close to me," he urged the girl, as her grip on his hand tightened, her breath hitching in fear. "Samuel, what's happening?" Her voice quaked, barely above a whisper. Anxiety crackled in the air. It felt almost electric, a tension that made Samuel's skin crawl. "I don't know," he replied, his own voice uncertain. The distant thud resonated again, louder this time, accompanied by another eerie creak. Panic tried to claw its way up his throat. Was someone or something out there? "Enough with the games," Celia shouted, her voice straining as if she were trying to drown out her own terror. "Show yourself." But her bravado faltered, revealing a tremor in her words. Suddenly, a harsh beam of light sliced through the gloom, illuminating the room. A figure emerged, silhouetted against the indecisive glow. Samuel squinted, trying to discern who it was. The light flickered, revealing a familiar face, one he hadn't seen in years. His chest tightened as recognition washed over him. Jordan, his childhood friend, the one who had vanished right before the nightmare had begun. "What the hell are you doing here?" Samuel exclaimed, shock washing over his previously muddled thoughts. Jordan leaned against the doorway, a smirk playing on his lips, yet his eyes spoke of a darkness that made Samuel's gut twist. "Funny how life brings you back to your roots, isn't it? What do you want?" Samuel demanded, clenching his fists. The storm of emotions inside him crashed like thunder. "I heard your little rendezvous had gone south, thought I'd drop in." Jordan's gaze darted toward the girl, lingering a moment too long. Samuel instinctively moved in front of her, protective instincts roaring to life. "Not everyone deserves saving, Sam," Jordan added coldly. The girl shivered next to him, her fear palpable. Samuel felt the weight of her small body against his, and realized in that moment, it was not just fear for himself he felt. It was the suffocating responsibility for this child whose world had already been shattered too many times. "Get away from her," he warned, his voice steady despite the churn of adrenaline. "You're not welcome here." Jordan chuckled darkly, clearly enjoying the unfolding scene. "What exactly are you going to do, Samuel? You never finished what we started." A flash of memory caught him, moments interwoven with laughter, fireworks, and then a white-hot flash of betrayal that transformed friendships into shadows. The message on the screen resurfaced in his mind like an unwelcome apparition, its weight pressing down on him. "You know what you've done, it's not over yet." The lights flickered again, dimming to near darkness. The shadows whispered secrets he'd buried long ago. "Please, just leave us alone." The girl's voice sliced through the tension. "That has never been the plan," Jordan replied, stepping closer, his predatory aura stronger now. Every instinct screamed at him to run, but Samuel stood his ground. "Stay behind me," he whispered to the girl, her anxious breath a reminder of the stakes at play. With every second, the atmosphere thickened. Samuel could feel the walls closing in again, this time suffocating with the undeniable truth that things were spiraling beyond control. But he had to make a choice: would he face Jordan and what lay ahead, or turn back to the darkness that had nearly consumed him? The ground beneath shifted as the room quaked, sending Samuel crashing to the floor, only the shrillness of the girl's scream anchoring him. What had he invited back into his life? As the creaking and crashing crescendoed, an unseen force seemed to take hold of the moment, but the real chaos was only just beginning. He could either confront his past or let it swallow him whole. The choice loomed larger than the darkness, and time was running out. What would he decide? The tremors eased, but the silence that followed was suffocating. Dust floated in the air like nervous laughter, while Samuel scrambled to regain his footing. His breath came in shallow gasps, heart pounding so violently he feared it would burst. He could feel Celia's small hand slipping from his grasp, and he forced himself to remain steady. "Celia, stay close," he said, keeping his voice low but firm. A horrible warmth spread across his skin as he turned to Jordan, who still lounged casually against the doorframe, like a king surveying his crumbling kingdom. "Such a dramatic performance, Sam," Jordan taunted, his expression a mask of cruel amusement. "I almost forgot how you used to react when things got a little intense." With every word, Jordan seemed to relish the tension, pulling Samuel deeper into a web he thought he had escaped. "Shut up," Samuel shot back, but the fear in his voice betrayed him. He couldn't afford to lose control, especially not now. "What do you want from us?" Jordan tilted his head, pretending to ponder. "Oh, it's not much, just a bit of unfinished business. You see, when you turned your back on our little project, you didn't just hurt me, you hurt yourself." The floorboards creaked again, echoing Samuel's mounting dread, and the girl beside him gasped, her eyes wide. "Hey, it's going to be okay," he reassured her, though the knot in his stomach tightened. "Just stay behind me, no matter what." But even as he spoke, doubt gnawed at him. Was it truly all going to be okay? Jordan took a step forward, the light flickering ominously. The shadows in the corners of the room began to dance again, haunting and sinister. "Remember our promise? That we'd always find our way back to each other? You just didn't figure you'd be on the receiving end of my friendship." Panic surged through Samuel. He couldn't let this escalate. How could he protect Celia when the threat was a ghost from his past? "You shouldn't have come back," he said, glaring at Jordan, trying to grasp the resolve that had always evaded him. "This is my life now." "Oh no," Jordan sneered, "this is just the beginning." Suddenly, the room was ripped apart by a deafening crash as something crashed through a window, sending shards of glass flying in all directions. Samuel's instincts kicked in. He turned, shielding Celia with his body. His heart raced as chaos erupted around them. In the blink of an eye, a dark form lunged into the room, forcing Samuel to jerk back. The creature paused, the light catching its glistening skin, a massive, twisted figure that seemed to pull shadows to it like a dark hole. "What the hell is that?" Celia whimpered, trembling against him. "That isn't supposed to be here," Jordan whispered, eyes wide, a flicker of fear breaking through his bravado. Samuel's mind raced. This wasn't just about confronting Jordan anymore. Whatever bitterness had brewed between them seemed insignificant next to this new terror. The twisted figure hissed, revealing teeth jagged and sharp as it loomed closer. He couldn't show fear, not now. His grip tightened around Celia. "Get back," he shouted, pushing her further behind him, trying to gauge the creature's next move. Jordan stared, his bravado evaporating under the unexpected threat. "I didn't summon it," he yelled, panic slicing through his voice, though his fingers twitched with some kind of urgency. The creature advanced, muscles flexing, screaming chaos into the air. Samuel felt as if the room was spitting him out, mixing terror with something akin to determination. "Celia, run." Before they could move, the creature lunged, its eyes glinting with hunger. In that horrifying moment, Samuel faced a truth he had desperately tried to escape. This nightmare was just beginning. As the shadows conspired to engulf them, He could only wonder if anyone could survive the onslaught of both Jordan and the darkness that had come alive. What awaited them on the other side of this terror? And would they emerge together, or would the shadows claim them both? The creature surged forward, a chaotic blur of sinew and shadow. Samuel barely had time to register the nightmarish figure before it lunged for him with a ravenous growl, creating a rush of air that smelled of decay and dread.
Run!
He screamed again, a primal urgency driving his voice. He pushed Celia aside, hoping she would obey. But the moment he stepped away, he felt the terrifying weight of the monster set its gaze upon him. Time seemed to slow as adrenaline coursed through Samuel's veins. He leaped sideways, instinctively reaching for anything he could wield. It was a broken table leg, jagged and heavy, but it felt like a lifeline. He swung it wildly, not sure where he would connect. The creature snarled, baring its distorted teeth inches from Samuel's face. The noise roared like thunder, rattling the remnants of the shattered glass around them. Samuel's heart raced, pounding against his ribcage like a restless beast trying to break free. "Stay back," he yelled, grit and determination fueling his every word as he brandished the makeshift weapon. He swung again, feeling the weight of the table leg drag, but it connected with the creature's shoulder. The movement was swift. It twisted away, but he could see something, a metallic shimmer, glinting under the fractured light. "Celia, get out," he cried, trying to keep the monster's attention focused on him.
But where was she?
His eyes darted around the chaotic room, searching.
Sam.
Her tiny voice broke through the roaring chaos. There she was, backed against the wall, wide-eyed and trembling, helplessly watching the absurdity of this hell unfold. "Run!" he roared again, desperation tightening his throat. Just beyond the doorway, he caught a glimpse of Jordan, lingering with a mixture of shock and fear overshadowing his usual bravado. The two men locked eyes, the cowardice twisting in Jordan's face told Samuel everything he needed to know. "Are you really going to let it eat him?" Samuel shouted across the room, forcing Jordan to confront his own paralyzing inaction. "Help! Do something!" Jordan's eyes flickered between Samuel and the advancing beast, horror painting his features. "I can't," he stammered. "I didn't bring it here." Samuel's resolve hardened. The creature lunged again, and this time, he sidestepped, aiming for its flank. The table leg connected with a sickening thud, and a howl echoed through the room, more a beastly scream than a word. Breathless, the creature reeled back, and Samuel seized the moment. "Celia, now!" But Celia remained paralyzed, watching the chaos unfold as if mesmerized by nightmares materializing before her. He turned, exasperation clawing at him. "Celia!" In an instant, the creature recovered. Its twisted body writhed into a fighting stance, eyes blazing with rage and hunger. Then, seemingly out of nowhere, a bright flash erupted. A figure appeared, bold and terrifying, a silhouette draped in light stepping through the doorway. The aura around them pulsed, both fierce and reassuring. "Step away from her," the figure commanded, voice booming with authority. It was as though the shadows flinched. Samuel and Celia's eyes widened in disbelief, caught between awe and dread. "What are you doing?" Jordan shouted, confusion etching his words.
"Get back."
But the radiant figure stepped forward, locking eyes with the maelstrom of dark fury that approached. The monster hesitated, the air thick with tension. For the first time, it seemed unsure, as if caught between two worlds. "Who are you?" Samuel breathed, the question escaping his lips in the chaos. "Your salvation," the figure replied, flat yet resolute. The creature snarled again, but there was something different. It recoiled just slightly, caught in a tug-of-war between the light and its dark compulsion. "What's happening?" Celia whispered, still frozen but her fear wavering into something else, curiosity, perhaps? Samuel's pulse thundered in his ears as tension crackled in the air. "What do we do?" The figure extended a hand, palm up, inviting peace yet demanding respect. "Stand ready." The darkness won surrender easily. The air thickened as shadows converged, the creature glaring defiantly. In that electric moment, they confronted their worst fears, pressed against the bounds of choice and consequence. Would they succumb to the dark? Or had they truly summoned a spark of hope out of despair? As uncertainty loomed above, a new twist stirred on the horizon, waiting to unfold. The luminous figure stood firm, casting an ethereal glow that seemed to push back against the encroaching shadow. Samuel's heart raced, his instinct to protect Celia battling with the raw terror of the creature before them. The air crackled with an energy that felt alive, pulsing like the beat of a war drum. "Stay behind me," the figure commanded, eyes locking onto Samuel. There was an intensity in the gaze that sent a shiver down his spine, as if the figure could see through him, into the very essence of his fear and determination. The creature, snarling and seething, shifted its weight from foot to foot, uncertainty flickering across its monstrous features. Samuel could hardly breathe. The interplay of light and dark felt monumental, a cosmic dance where the stakes had never been higher. "Celia, focus," he urged, trying to break the trance that held her captive. "We need to get out of here."
Now.
"Sam," she whispered, her voice small yet trembling with fright. It's so scary." "I know, but let us trust this light." He pointed at the figure that held its ground. "It's here to help. We have to move." But the creature lunged again, faster this time, a blur of terrible power and fury. Samuel swung the table leg, but it was a feeble shield against the dark force. Just as he braced for impact, the radiant figure interjected, a hand raised, summoning a wave of shimmering light that collided with the beast. It was like a cannon blast. The room illuminated with a brightness that momentarily obliterated the darkness, the creature recoiling as if burnt. Samuel felt the heat against his skin and squinted against the blinding light.
"Run,"
the figure implored, their voice rising above the tumult. Samuel felt a mix of rage and hope surge within him. He grabbed Celia by the arm, feeling the chill of her fear mixed with the warmth of emerging courage. He pulled her toward the open doorway, glancing back to see the creature stagger, disoriented by the light's tangible force.
"Go."
"It won't hold for long," the figure warned, urgency lacing their voice. Jordan, finally snapping out of his freeze, stumbled forward. "What about you? We can't just leave you here." The moment hung heavy, but the figure's expression hardened. "You'll only drag me down. Do not hesitate." Samuel's heart thudded painfully in his chest. "We can't just trust me." The figure's voice cut through the chaos like a whip, leaving no room for debate. With a final shove, Samuel urged Celia through the threshold. As they crossed, a shattering roar erupted from the creature, its fury rekindled by the encroaching darkness. Samuel didn't look back, sensing that whatever conflict was happening now was too great to comprehend. Outside, the cool night air felt like a balm on his frantic soul. They stumbled into the moonlit street, panting. Samuel turned, watching as the doorway flickered with angered shadows, the figure standing defiantly against the creature within. "Sam, what do we do now?" Celia's voice trembled, panic flooding her features. "We go to the car, we need to think," he replied, trying to keep his tone steady. But as they raced toward the vehicle, the question gnawed at him. What kind of creature were they dealing with? And what was that figure? They reached the car, and Samuel fumbled with the keys, every second feeling as if it would bring them closer to that darkness. Just as he clicked the lock, a loud crash echoed from the building they had just escaped. The shadow surged through the doorway, wild and vengeful, and Samuel's breath caught in his throat. "They'll come after us," he realized, dread coiling in his gut.
"Sam,"
Celia cried, turning pale as realization settled over them like a dense fog. What was that light?
"Who was that?"
Her eyes were wide, searching his face for answers he didn't have. His throat tightened as he glanced back at the building. The figure, he thought, could it be more than just a savior? Had they just invited a new kind of danger? As the creature prowled forward into the night, he clenched his jaw. They had to find out. "Get in the car," he shouted, urgency escalating in every syllable. But in that moment of fevered chaos, a dreadful thought occurred to him. Had they really escaped? Or had they only set the stage for something far more monstrous to follow? The shadows lurked behind them, whispering. Questions burned in Samuel's mind as he slammed the door shut. The night was far from over, and its dark secrets awaited them just beyond the horizon. What if they had awakened a force beyond their understanding? What if the fight was just beginning? The roar echoed like thunder, shaking the ground beneath Samuel's feet as he slammed the car door shut. His heart raced, pounding violently against his ribs. He threw the keys into the ignition, his hands trembling while Celia pressed herself against her seat, wide-eyed and terrified. "Start, damn it," Samuel grunted, twisting the key fiercely. The engine coughed, sputtered, and finally roared to life, sending a surge of hope coursing through him. But the dark presence was just outside, waiting. He glanced back. The creature slithered closer, a shadowy nightmare intent on vengeance. "Go! Go!" Celia screamed, her eyes darting toward the rear-view mirror. Samuel fumbled with the gear shift, his stomach churning as he pressed the pedal down hard. The tires screeched, and the car lurched forward into the night. They sped away from the house, the glowing figure and the horrible beast fading into the darkness behind them, but relief was a fleeting phantom. The creature was relentless, and Samuel half expected it to launch itself at them from the shadows. He could feel the weight of Celia's panic pressing in on them, thick and suffocating. "Where do we go? What do we do?" she shouted, her voice shaking. "I don't know," he replied, glancing into the rear view again. "Just keep an eye out. We can't let it catch up." As they hit the main road, the moon hung low and heavy, illuminating the uneven pavement ahead. Samuel could see the outline of trees lining the path, stretching out like the arms of the damned. The chill in the air coupled with adrenaline sent adrenaline coursing through his veins, but in the background, the pulsing fear of the impending doom owned his thoughts. "Sam, what did we even just see?" Celia's voice trembled as she gripped her seatbelt, knuckles white. "That was unreal. What if it was more than we think? What if it was trying to protect us but also hiding something?" Samuel pondered, grappling with the uncertainty. Suddenly, a flash of light illuminated the rear-view mirror. Gasps erupted in unison in the car as they caught a glimpse of the creature racing toward them at a terrifying speed, nearly keeping pace alongside the car. "Faster. Please, Sam." Celia's scream cut through the air and jolted him into action. He slammed down the accelerator, gripping the steering wheel as they hit a straight stretch of the road. The engine roared, the car surged forward. In the depths of his mind, Samuel couldn't shake the nagging realization. They hadn't truly escaped. Whatever power lay within that dark thing was now furious, thrumming with vengeance. "What was that light?" Celia questioned, her eyes darting to him. "What was it trying to tell us?" "I don't know," he croaked, the lump in his throat making it hard to speak. "But I think it might be needed us to understand. To take some kind of action." As they zoomed past vacant buildings cast in shadows, Samuel pondered the warning signs etched in the very fabric of their escape. He felt the weight of responsibility resting solely on his shoulders. Could he rise to meet it? Then, without warning, the headlights caught something ahead. The road forked one way, leading deeper into the woods, the other toward the distant glow of the town. "Which way?" Celia breathed, panic staining her voice. "Left or right, Celia?" He yelled desperately, his heart hammering against his chest. But just then, they heard a sharp crack, the sound of branches breaking and the earth shifting. Samuel's heart sank as he realized the creature was no longer behind them. It was in front, blocking their path, a towering silhouette bristling with rage. "Brace for impact," he shouted, yanking the steering wheel as the creature lunged. Would they crash into this nightmare or escape once more into the abyss? And what awaited them on the other side of that terrifying fork? As the wheels spun and the creature roared, Samuel's mind raced with one dreadful question: was it truly the end, or merely the beginning of the horrors to come? The tires screeched as Samuel wrenched the steering wheel, heart pounding with the weight of the moment. The dark silhouette before them, a grotesque hybrid of shadows and rage, seemed to pulse with malevolence. Fear trickled down his spine like ice water. Celia's terrified breaths filled the car, a haunting reminder of what was at stake. The creature lunged again, its massive form eclipsing the headlights. Samuel instinctively slammed the brakes, the car skidding to a halt just inches from the monstrous figure, the smell of burning rubber filling the air. Panic welled within him as he caught sight of its haunting eyes, glowing with a feral hunger. "What do we do?" Celia's whisper was barely audible over the thundering of his pulse. I end that heartbeat of silence. Samuel's mind raced. They could either backtrack the very path that had brought them perilously close to whatever that figure was, or throw caution to the wind and plunge into the woods. Each choice screamed damnation, yet offered a sliver of hope. "Let us go left," Samuel shouted suddenly, his mind settling on the forest, sprawling darkly ahead. It felt dangerous, but the glow of the town felt like a trap, a beacon to the nightmare chasing them. "Are you crazy?" Celia shrieked as he threw the gear into reverse, spinning the wheel to slip away from the creature. "I know it sounds insane," he barked back, dread pooling in his stomach. "But we need a chance to escape." With a swift motion, he threw the car into gear again and accelerated, veering sharply onto the dirt path leading into the forest. The roar of the engine blended with the heart-pounding rhythm of his fear, drowning out the growls that haunted the air behind them. The car shook violently over the uneven ground, branches scraping against the metal, but Samuel pressed on, desperate to evade the clutches of darkness. Celia's hands gripped the dashboard, knuckles white. He could see her reflection in the rear view, eyes darting back and forth between the woods and the looming dread they had left behind, and it tore at his heart. "Do you think it's still chasing us?" she finally whispered. "I don't know. I can't." He paused, fear threatening to engulf him. "I can't look back." Just as silence settled, broken only by the crunching wheels on gravel, the headlights flickered, then dimmed. Panic carved deeper into Samuel's gut. The car sputtered, struggling against the unsympathetic night. "No, no, no. This can't be happening." Samuel cursed under his breath, twisting the key in the ignition, praying for life. "Sam, please." Celia's voice trembled with fear. The engine wheezed, sputtered again, and finally, with a feral growl, roared to life. Samuel breathed a shaky sigh of relief, but it was short-lived. He glanced out the window. The trees reminded him of creeping fingers clutching at them, almost teasing them back into darkness. "We can't keep going like this. We have to find somewhere safe. Somewhere we can hide," she suggested, trembling slightly as the urgency permeated her words. Samuel caught sight of a clearing ahead, illuminated by the moonlight. "There. We can stop there and think." As he steered the car toward the clearing, he could feel an unsettling calm creeping in, but the dread remained a heavy cloak over his shoulders. The urge to stop to breathe was real, but would it lead them into the jaws of the monster lurking behind them? When they finally skidded to a halt in the clearing, Samuel's heart raced. The trees around them loomed large and foreboding, a wall of shadows. The dark presence lurked somewhere in the woods. They could feel it even more than they could see it. Celia peered out the window, her voice trembling again. "What next? What if it finds us here?" "Then we fight," Samuel said, unsure if he was trying to convince her or himself. He had no real plan, but they were running out of time. The dark energy swirling in the night air was almost tangible. They would have to confront whatever messenger the creature had sent, or risk losing everything. With forceful determination, he turned to her. "We need to get to the trunk. There might be something we can use." Just as they exited the car, a low growl echoed around them, freezing them in place. It came from the trees. "What was that?" Celia's voice was barely a whisper. Samuel didn't answer. He felt every hair on his body stand on end as shadows shifted around them. The woods were holding a dark secret, and soon it would be unleashed. With the looming threat bearing down on them, Samuel steeled himself for whatever horrors awaited. Was this the moment they faced their true fate, or was it just the beginning of the nightmare? As the unsettling growls drew closer, Samuel's blood froze at the realization that true terror was about to be unleashed. The air was thick with impending dread. Samuel's heart thundered in his chest as he and Celia stepped cautiously away from the car. Shadows swallowed the trees, creating a blurred maze that seemed alive with malevolence. "This way," he urged, leading her toward the trunk. Any semblance of safety felt fleeting at best, but they had to find anything to defend themselves. As he fumbled with the latch, a branch cracked behind them, echoing like a gunshot in the stillness. Samuel spun around, pulse racing, sweat trickling down his brow. "Celia," he hissed, eyes wide, scanning the dark. "I can't see." Her voice quivered, fear leaching the strength from her small frame. "Stay close." His voice was firm, desperation lacing his words. He finally opened the trunk, his hands shaking as he rummaged through the contents, a jumble of forgotten belongings and flotsam from his life.
Come on, come on."
And then, with a smirk of fate, his fingers brushed against something hard, a baseball bat. He pulled it out, the reassuring weight grounding him. Just then, another roar echoed through the woods, reverberating off the trees, the sound fierce and hungry. "Samuel," Celia whispered, her eyes wide as she instinctively grabbed his arm. "Get behind me," he commanded, brandishing the bat, knuckles white against the wood. He felt a flicker of courage ignite in his chest, a battle-ready flame against the darkness. Suddenly, the shadows thickened. From the gloom emerged the creature, more terrifying than before. It was massive, all jagged edges and hungry eyes, oozing a darkness that seemed to pull the very light from the moon above.
"Come on,"
Samuel shouted. He motioned for Celia to move back, muscles tense as he squared his shoulders, ready for the fight of their lives. The creature let out a guttural growl, the sound vibrating through the air like an earthquake.
"Stay back,"
Samuel yelled, swinging the bat toward the monstrous figure just as it lunged. The impact shocked him. He connected with the creature's side, sending it reeling back. The creature screeched, a terrible, haunting noise that sliced through the darkness. Celia's breath hitched behind him. "Did you get it?" "No, just pissed it off," he said, fear rising again as he focused on the beast that regained its footing, snarling with fury. "Samuel," Celia cried as it surged forward again, but as it lunged, Samuel found a strange sense of calm washing over him. Memories flooded his mind, of moments when he felt helpless, of haunted nights alone. Whatever this creature represented, he needed to confront it. With a primal roar, he swung the bat again, this time connecting with a loud crack. It was like striking a massive drum. For a moment, the creature staggered, its glowing eyes momentarily flickering between a primal rage and confusion. "Get away from us," Samuel shouted, channeling every ounce of his fear into fury. The creature howled, scrambling back, but Samuel knew this was just the beginning. As it recoiled, something shifted, a realization that they could fight back against the darkness. "Samuel, it's not backing down." Celia's voice trembled, clenching her fists. He nodded, determination setting his jaw. "We have to keep pushing. Together." In that moment, Samuel felt a fierce bond form with Celia, a connection stronger than fear that ignited hope. "When I swing, you run to the car and grab the tire iron. We can fight this." But no sooner had the words left his mouth when the creature lunged again, faster this time, jaws snapping inches from Samuel's face. The world twisted into chaos. Samuel swung the bat again, adrenaline coursing through him. He slammed against the monster's snout with everything he had, sending it careening into a nearby tree.
"Now,"
he roared, and Celia exploded into action. She ducked low, racing back to the car, determination etched on her tiny face. Samuel's heart swelled with pride. As she wrestled to pull the tire iron from the trunk, Samuel faced the beast alone, alive with terrifying energy. The creature regained composure, snarling. It seemed to sense Celia's shift. savage rage emanating from it like smoke. "Celia, hurry," he shouted, heart pounding. With a satisfied yelp, she emerged, tire iron in hand. "I got it. Get ready," Samuel shouted, their eyes locking in the thick of fading shadows. Together, they lunged forward, the light of the moon glinting off the tire iron. Samuel swung the bat low as Celia struck high, their united strength melding into a single force against the dark beast. The creature staggered, the blow landing with a sickening force. But Samuel felt the shadows swirling as it howled again, anger growing, the forest trembling all around them. "Right for the head," Samuel bellowed, decisive now. They stepped closer as the creature writhed, glancing at each other. Their fear morphed into a fierce resolve. With another swing, they struck together, the impact shaking the night. The creature froze, eyes flaring. It turned to shadow before dissolving into the night, the oppression of darkness giving way to a wisp of light that floated through the trees. They both stood, gasping, breaths mingling in exhausted disbelief. The oppressive weight lifted, pouring over them like a cozy blanket after a storm. Did we win?" Celia's voice quivered, an innocent wonder reflecting against fading horrors. A soft, muted light began to fill the clearing, mingling with the moon, and Samuel nodded slowly, fighting to keep tears of relief from flowing down his cheeks, a simple victory worth every struggle. I think we did." He turned to her, reminding himself of the pain they had faced together, grateful for her unwavering strength. They watched as the shadows faded, the darkness retreating, leaving behind a whisper of what had been. "Let us get to safety, Celia." Hand in hand, they walked back toward the car, a weight of resilience growing between them. They were free, but Samuel knew that remnants of the past would always linger, shadows waiting for the moment to strike again. But for now, they could walk into the light unshackled, ready to face whatever came next. As they drove out into the safety of dawn, Samuel felt his purpose renew. He might have been haunted by shadows, but he emerged alongside courage that felt like home. They had conquered darkness together, and that bond would stand strong against any storm life dared to send next. And as the bright sun broke over the horizon, illuminating their path, Samuel knew they would always find their light, no matter how dark it got. So, you need to subscribe now, I mean it. This is the moment to show your support. Smash that like button now, keep us strong in the algorithm. Let us know in the comments how you reacted. Your insights and theories matter, and we can't wait to hear from you. Don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this powerful conclusion. It's time to stand together,